Right. So, in this episode, we will be going down memory lane. And I just want to say it's quite a vulnerable one to share, but I do know it's so worth sharing because these topics, I do truly believe, need to be talked about more often. So, in terms of difficult relationships, the one that is most present to me is the one with my dad. Some of you actually might know that I, in fact, do not at present have any relationship with my dad, which was a conscious choice I made on my 25th birthday. And I also have not any desire to rekindle that at any point. And why that is, and how this whole experience shaped me into who I am, as well as how it supported me in becoming a successful entrepreneur, is what we shall look at together because I know I am not alone in this. And I hope that maybe some of you who also have either like a difficult relationship with either parent or someone else, or none at all with your parents, I know that this will help you to feel a little bit more seen. So let's dive right in. Without sharing too much detail, I didn't grow up with my dad around all the time, as my parents split up when I was 1 year old, I think. Both of them then also eventually found new partners, and my sisters joined the club, my two younger sisters, one on the side of my dad and one on the side of my mum. And that in itself caused me to actually often feel like I don't belong to either side, like I was in the middle. And I saw myself as the one kind of like standing from the middle, looking at two new families. And it was kind of like, it felt quite lonely, but also helped me to rather be quite independent, actually, because it was kind of like just me. So I was kind of like my own family. And over the years, as I like grew older, one thing that stayed persistent was the grudge my dad held onto over my mum for splitting up. And it was almost like he was holding like a vendetta against her. And he often called it a game he was playing. And I was one of his pawns. Or at least he tried to get me to be one of his pawns. And I still do remember to this day that he would often say, like to me, I'm going to win this game. And all I thought was, what game? And I don't want to play this game. Like this is not my game to play. But for a while, because I was a young kid, right, I bought into it all, and I was like believing. And I was like, okay, what do I need to do? But after a while, I really started then seeing through all of that. I started seeing things more clearly and saw also the hurt this was causing, not only to me but to others too. And it not only caused to be a difficult relationship for me, but also others. And I didn't want to play any part in this game anymore. I didn't want to be used in someone else's game. I didn't want to just be a pawn in someone else's grudge infused spiel. I just wanted to be me and to be happy and to be loved for who I am. But that was truly hard to come by at the time. Like, no matter how much I tried to impress my dad by trying to comply to his needs or wants, to kind of like help his ego, right? It would not make him happy, nor would it lead to him to like reconfirm also like his care and love for me. And like on the contrary, he often used, and again, I don't want to swear here too much, but he often used quite like mean words to describe my mother, for example. And then in the same sentence, he would say, "You're just like her." And that hurt. It really, really hurt, especially since for a long time I didn't even have a great relationship with my mum either. So that was another difficult relationship I was dealing with. And to just give you a glimpse of that, like we were fighting a lot because I grew up with her, right? So as soon as I turned 18, I couldn't wait to move out. And actually, when I moved out, it was almost on the day of my 18th birthday. We didn't speak for a year. We didn't have any real contact. And even then, it never felt like a picture book mother-daughter relationship, but more like, yeah, we accept each other. And only in recent years, so present times, from present times, recent years, have we managed to like forge a new bond as we both learned to forgive another through like lots and lots of work on ourselves that we did without like it wasn't like caused by the other person. It was just like because we are both more like interested in personal growth and wanted to better ourselves. And that really helped to like rekindle kind of that relationship. And for me, also the reason why I was working so much on myself was just because I wanted to know how to turn it around, how to be happy. Like I craved so much to just be me to be judgment free and to just be accepted for who I am. And I kind of found that love and support in most of my friends, and the bonds to them grew very, very strong, like stronger than to any real family member of mine. But also the relationship to myself grew a lot stronger. And for years and years, I would literally like absorb and implement all things mindset and personal growth and anything I could lay my hands on about how to live my best life ever. That was kind of like my motto for a while. Like if you would put that onto a personal growth chart, right, the arrow would go through the roof in terms of how much I learned and practiced to better myself constantly. And this really helped me to just learn to love myself and to rely on myself and to prove my own worthiness to me and not to anyone else. And it took me really to crave life more than the easy way out as well, which I actually considered an option at times. But it was my determination that saved me from going that path. The determination that there must be a purpose to why I am here, that there is something only I can make real. And I always knew that I already had what that was needed to succeed, no matter if I fit in or not, no matter if I was loved by my parents or not. The only person who is able to walk my path is me. And I always knew that. But I also knew I had to drop some of the shackles to the past that were keeping me small. And that included cutting off difficult relationships to a lot of people, including my dad. And as I said in the beginning, this was a decision that wasn't taken lightly, and it took me to turn 25 until I finally said enough is enough. But that was the point I could truly like stand on my own 2 feet, and that was my freedom call to complete independence. So I cut the ties and I set very, very strong boundaries to not let myself basically being brought back into this kind of space again where I would be diluted. And not everyone understood this decision because they never really tried to understand me, but it's also not my job to make them understand. And they more saw it as like a matter almost of disrespect or disloyalty. And they would be saying things like, oh, but we are family. But to me, and this is a very honest opinion, if you are forced to be fake in front of others whilst they are fake to you, that's not family. So again, my main driver was finding my own happiness, no matter what anyone else was thinking. I wanted to be happy in my one life that I had. I have maybe like 90 years, if I'm lucky, maybe 100, or maybe even less. And that's a limited amount of time. I don't want to make the best out of it. And I learned to be really okay with, like, not everybody understands that I want to make the best out of my life. And again, it's not my job to make them understand. But the freedom and the relief and joy I felt when truly standing up for myself and embracing my whole authentic self was out of this world. Like, it wasn't always easy. Like, old wounds do open up sometimes. I know that it's totally normal. But thanks to like my vast knowledge and everything I learned and studied and how to like handle all of that, simply to like keep on focusing on myself, focusing on healing and being my best whilst living my life in a way that would leave me with zero regrets, was a game changer. And I dare say, even though I might not have any relationship with my dad anymore, all of this work on myself, caused kind of like by this, has improved other relationships where there's true mutual love and respect. So growing up in an environment where I never ever felt like I belonged caused me to really own my own thing and do my own thing more and more, to embrace what truly made me happy and to focus less on what anyone else wants. Because I wanted to really live a life according to my core values, which is freedom, impact, and authenticity. And I knew that I had to create my own blueprint to get there, like my own way to get there. And with there, I also mean that the journey is a destination. There's no end point when I reach freedom, impact, and authenticity. The destination is doing that now, like in the present moment. And this is like where I say this is out of this world. This is the change, because this has hugely impacted me in also just even going for entrepreneurship. It was one of the biggest decisions to fully trust myself, to go against the grain, And it kicked off also like several other decisions. I mean, the whole situation with letting go of those relationships, which included like moving abroad, going alone to the UK, leaving a long-term toxic relationship only weeks after the wedding, or diving headfirst into coaching and then starting my own business with like knowing nada, absolutely nothing about the how. All I knew was that I could trust myself to make it work. And I'm so sure, like, you know, that feeling that sometimes when you are about to do something, even if you've never done it maybe before, or you're shit scared to do it, you just have like the sensation, like you just know, you have just this knowledge, it will work out. Like, kind of like you cannot fail. Even if you make a mistake, you know you will get there. And it doesn't mean it works out immediately or in the time you maybe hope it will, but you know eventually your perseverance and your self-belief will make it happen. And now, kind of like fast forward, for almost 3 years, I have been building my business. I have been working with clients worldwide, experimenting with new offers, learning as I go, making lots and lots of mistakes. But the one thing I never did was giving up. And that also then led to releasing a book, launching my podcast, a YouTube channel. I got invited as a guest myself on several other podcasts to share my expertise even with more people and to continue really having that impact in so many people's lives. And the biggest takeaway for me is when reflecting on all of this, like I'm truly leading my business my way, like perfectly imperfect, but my way, in alignment with my values. And that is my personal vision of success. Like I want to truly live in alignment with what is important to me, what I want to stand for. Because I have the freedom to do what I want when I want. I get to do things my way, and I get to leave a lasting impact on others in different ways, whether that is one-on-one coaching here through the podcast or through the book. I know, like, whatever I'm sharing, it will reach the right person and it will touch and change lives. Like, I just want to say, I think like child me, who was seeking approval from her parents to be deemed worthy, has just gone and learned to be worthy of living her best life, no matter what, herself. And I'm sure she's very proud, because I'm very proud of myself. So yeah, this was just like a little personal anecdote. And I hope it has given you some insight into how difficult relationships and moments can actually still bring the best out in us, or are actually the key driver in why we do what we do and how we do it, how we lead ourselves through life, through entrepreneurship, through our careers, through relationships. But I also want to share with you 3 coaching questions that I did ask myself in that time, or that I actually quite often ask myself, just to like ponder on. So the question 1 is, on what level are you living your life on your own terms or someone else's? The question number 2 is, what would it be like to live your life fully as you want to? Where would you go if you were to go your own path? What would you make happen? And the question 3 is, what can you do now, starting from today, to embrace a life that makes you happier and that brings you there? And again, there, the destination is to truly embrace these values right here and now, because this is the destination. It's this very moment. How can you be happier now? So ever think about these questions and see what comes up for you. If you feel like there are still like restrictions or it's hard for you to think about it, just know this is totally normal. And it might also show that there's something for you to learn to let go, or to face, or to just come to terms with. And in addition, if you want to learn more about the process of how to let go of difficult relationships that don't serve you, then I highly recommend you to listen to or watch episode 31. So basically 2 weeks ago, the episode that just released. And if you like this episode and want more episodes like this, which are a little bit more vulnerable, a bit more personal, sharing about my personal experiences and what I've learned and implemented and changed based upon it, then do please leave a like on YouTube or a rating on your chosen podcast platform, or send me a message. There is so much power and connection, and I love reading all your messages about how you relate to or what you loved in an episode or what you learned. And with that, I shall see you again next week.